Welcome to the overview on recognizing fractions as numbers. Formal instruction about rational numbers usually begins in the primary grades with explorations of part-whole relationships. This approach connects strongly with students' intuitive understanding of what fractions are and how they work. But without further instruction on other interpretations of fractions, students may form misconceptions that will impede future comprehension. It is critical that students learn that fractions are numbers with magnitudes that represent quantities, a concept that can be difficult to grasp. A solid understanding of fractions as numbers enables students to both relate fractions to whole numbers and compare fractions to other fractions. It provides the conceptual basis for all operations with fractions. Measurement activities are a good place to start because many students already have informal experiences to build on, such as working with recipes or measuring heights. Teachers can point out that fractions allow for more precise measurement of quantities than do whole numbers, and then measure objects using fractional parts. Practice in measuring with tools such as lengths of paper or fraction strips reinforces the idea that fractions represent quantities. Here, a student uses yellow fraction strips as whole units. She has measured objects in the room and recorded her findings. The chair is 4 fraction strips high. Her foot is 1 fraction strip long. The stuffed bear, however, is more than 1 strip long, but not as much as 2. She addresses the problem by folding a yellow strip in half to measure the full length of the bear. The teacher then gives her blue strips that are half as long as the yellow strips. The student experiments and finds different ways to measure the bear. Practice with fraction strips is fun for children and develops a concept of equivalence. Number lines are a key tool in helping children learn that fractions are numbers. Researchers have demonstrated that as early as preschool, children build number sense when they use number lines. Students' early familiarity with the number line makes it a useful tool for introducing fundamental concepts about rational numbers, such as magnitude and equivalence. Here, a second-grade teacher is using number lines to help students make the transition from working with whole numbers to working with fractions. He asks the students to name the whole numbers with him: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The students then watch as he marks out fractional parts between 0 and 1, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and asks students to count the segments with him. Then he has them label the marks. The teacher asks students if they can think of another way to label 1. He starts writing a fraction, putting 4 in the denominator, and then shows 4/4. With practice, students will be able to locate and compare fractions on a pre-segmented number line, compare fractions greater than 1 to whole numbers, and locate a fraction such as 1/4 or 3/4 when eighths have been labeled. As students' understanding develops, teachers can use number lines to pose many challenges that build rational number concepts. Is 2/3 closer to 1 or 0? Where would we locate 5/7 on a number line? What about 7/5? Compare several fractions with the same numerator, such as 3/4, 3/5, and 3/7. More advanced work with number lines involves using parallel sets of labels, with each set showing fractions with different denominators. For example, students could be asked to compare 2/3 and 3/4 and identify which is greater. This use of the number line helps children develop understanding of the relative size of fractions. As students progress, their experience with number lines can be expanded to teach more sophisticated concepts related to rational numbers. For example, that equivalent fractions describe the same magnitude. The number line helps students understand that there are an infinite number of fractions between any two numbers. And for older students, number line experiences will come in handy when they are introduced to negative fractions. On a number line, students can represent fractions as decimals and percentages. Different sets of labels help students compare the representations and see that 3/4, 0.75, and 75% are equivalent. The number line is a robust and flexible tool that can be used in many ways to build up the conceptual understanding that students need in order to make progress with rational numbers and understand algebra. Children who have extensive experience with number lines won't be baffled by improper fractions and negative fractions. They will be less likely to think of fractions as made up of whole numbers and make operational mistakes such as trying to add fractions by adding numerators and adding denominators.